How do you ask someone to do something in Tagalog? Well, stick around and find out. Kumusta po kayo? Welcome back. This is the third and last part of my response to a request posted by one of the subscribers of this channel. Gauron Feng requested me to do an introduction to the prefix PAG that when combined with root words can become nouns, gerunds, and verbs. Since it's a long topic, I have broken down my response into 3 videos that cover the following. First, using PAG prefix plus root words to create Tagalog nouns, which I have already talked about in the first video. Second, using the PAG prefix plus root words combined with the AN suffix to create verbs, which was the focus of my last video. And third, using the PAG prefix plus root words combined with the IN suffix to create verbs, which will be the focus of this video. If you have missed those videos, do check them out. The links are in the description box down below. So, tara, simulan na natin. Let's begin. But before that, please make sure that you are subscribed by simply clicking on the subscribe button and the bell notification button so you'll be updated of new videos. Alright? Now, let's talk about using the PAG prefix plus root words combined with the IN suffix to create verbs. This formula produces Tagalog verbs that are used in the following instances. Number 1, to make someone do something. And number 2, to put two things together or closer to each other or their opposite. Let's take a look at the first one. Verbs that make someone do something. Here goes. Linis, clean. Paglinisin, to ask someone to clean. Punas, wipe. Pagpunasin, to ask someone to wipe something. Luto, cook or cuisine. Paglutuin, to ask someone to cook. Take note, there's a phonological change that happens here. The O in luto becomes U. Paglutuin. Moving on. Sayaw, dance. Pagsayawin, to ask someone to dance. Ukit, carve or sculpt. Pag-ukitin, to ask someone to carve something. Guhit, line. Pag-guhitin, to ask someone to draw. Sulat, write or letter or correspondence. Pagsulatin, to ask someone to write. Usap, talk. Pag-usapin, to make people talk to each other. Isip, think. Pag-isipin, to ask someone to think about something. Sometimes, but not all the time, root words that end in vowels will have the affix hin instead of in, like the following. Multa, fine or penalty. Pagmultahin, to ask someone to pay a fine or penalty. Silbi, serve. Pagsilbihin, to ask someone to render service. Higanti, revenge. Paghigantihin, to ask someone to take revenge. Ayos ba? Are you getting it? These are just a few verbs created from the combination of the PAG prefix plus root words and the IN suffix that ask someone to do something. Now, let's move on to our second set of verbs, the verbs that convey putting things together or closer to each other or their opposite. Here goes. Sama, together. Pagsamahin, to put together. Dugtong, join. Pagdugtungin, to join together. See that O turning into U? Dikit, stick or glue. Pagdikitin, to stick or glue together. Lapit, near. Paglapitin, to put something near each other. Bati, in good terms. Pagbatiin, to make two or more people reconcile. Kasundo, in agreement. Pagkasunduin, to have two or more people come to an agreement. As you can see, these verbs deal with joining things or people together. Now, let's take a look at their opposites. Hiwalay, separate. Paghiwalayin, to separate. Layo, apart. Paglayuin, to keep apart. Away, quarrel or fight. Pag-awayin, to make people quarrel. Ayos ba? Creating verbs from pag and in are very straightforward. But more importantly, I hope you're getting a sense of the cultural nuance. We will use them in simple sentences. But to do that, we will need to conjugate them in the completed, progressive, and contemplative aspects. Remember, Tagalog verbs are conjugated according to aspects and not tenses. Let's take a look at the infinitive forms of some of the verbs. Here's a few. Paglutuin, to ask someone to cook. Paglinisin, to ask someone to clean. Pag-isipin, to ask someone to think about something. Pagmultahin, to ask someone to pay a fine or penalty. Paglapitin, to put something near each other. Pagbatiin, to make two or more people reconcile. The infinitive verbs are also the imperative verbs, or the verbs that are used to command or to request someone. So they're the same. Now, let's conjugate these verbs into the completed aspect, or when the action has been completed. The affix we will use is the prefix pinag, like pinagluto, pinaglinis, pinag-isip, pinagmulta, pinaglapit, pinagbati. Next, let's conjugate them in the progressive aspect or when the action is currently happening. The formula is simple. Just use the completed form and reduplicate the first syllable of the root word, represented here in white letters. Let's try. Pinagluluto, pinaglilinis, pinag-iisip, pinagmumulta, pinaglalapit, pinagbabati. Finally, let's conjugate them in the contemplative aspect or when the action is about to occur. The formula is simple as well. Just use the infinitive verb and then reduplicate the first syllable of the root word, like paglulutuin, paglilinisin, pag-iisipin, pagmumultahin, paglalapitin, pagbabatiin. Ayos ba? So far, so good. Now, let's try using these verbs in simple sentences. Let's try the imperative form or the form that commands or requests someone. Here goes. Pagsayawin natin sina Peter at Marie ng salsa. Let us ask Peter and Marie dance the salsa. Pagsulatin natin si June ng tula. Let us ask June to write a poem. Pagbatiin natin sina Ed at Ariana. Let us make Ed and Ariana reconcile. These sentences are fairly straightforward. However, something strange happens in the imperative verb when addressed to a second person that doesn't happen if used in the first or third person. Let's take a look at these sentences. Paglutuin mo si Marie ng adobo. You have Marie cook adobo. Paglinisin mo siya ng bahay. You make him or her clean the house. Pagpunasin mo sila ng mga lamesa. You have them wipe the tables. Pagsamahin ninyo sila dito. You all join them together here. These sentences are in the imperative form that instruct the second person, mo, you, and ninyo, you all, to ask the target person to do something. In this case, the speaker is asking someone to tell someone to do something. Let's have a few more examples. Pagmultahin mo ang motorista. You make the motorist pay a fine. Pagpunasin mo ang mga bata ng sahig. You make the children wipe the floor. Pagsilbihin ninyo sila sa simbahan. You all make them serve at church. Pag-usapin ninyo ang mag-asawa. You all make the married couple talk to each other. Why do we have this double-doer, circular action kind of situation? Well, it's cultural. Filipinos don't want to be direct and seek an intermediary to soften the request. You'll hear this a lot. And it's only evident in the imperative form and not so in the conjugated forms like the completed aspect or when the action has been completed, like in the following sample sentences. Here goes. Pinag-isip ko siya ng mabuti. I made him or her think carefully. Pinagmulta ng pulis si Peter. The police made Peter pay a fine. Pinag-usap ko sila sa loob ng kwarto. I made them talk to each other inside the room. Pinagsama ko ang mga sangkap ng adobo. I put together the ingredients of the adobo. Pinag-away ni Marie sina Peter at Ariana. Marie made Peter and Ariana quarrel. Pinag-usap ko sila. I made them talk to each other. This time, let's try the sentences in the progressive aspect or when the action is currently happening. Pinagpupunas ni June si Ed ng lamesa. June is making Ed wipe the table. Pinagdudugtong namin ang lubid. We are joining the rope. Pinaglalapit ko sila. I'm making them close to each other. Pinagkakasundo ng mayor ang mga magkapitbahay. The mayor is making the neighbors agree. Pinagsisilbi niya ako kay Marie. He or she is making me serve Marie. Pinagsusulat mo pala si Anton ng liham. I hear you're making Anton write a letter. And finally, here are some sentences in the contemplative aspect or when the action is about to occur. Let's take a look. Pagsasayawin ko kayo sa piyesta. I will ask you all to dance in the fiesta. Pag-uukitin namin sina June at Ed ng rebulto. We will have June and Ed carve a statue. Pagdidikitin nila ang mga papel. They will glue together the pieces of paper. Paghihiwalayin natin ang mga kulay. We will separate the colors. Pagmumultahin ng tanod si Peter. The neighborhood watch will make Peter pay a fine. Pag-aawayin mo ba sila? Are you going to make them quarrel? So there, I have just completed the third and last part of my response to the request of Gao Ronfeng on how to use the prefix pag and to create nouns and verbs. I hope you like this video, and if you do, please make sure to hit the like button because that's gonna help this channel to be recommended to more people, thus helping this channel grow. All right? I will see you again soon as we continue our journey in learning a beautiful language, Tagalog. Maraming salamat po at hanggang sa susunod.